John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and today we're going to talk to you about the JTAC-Thunder chassis from JMS Tactical. This is a chassis system that we have been working with for quite some time now. Currently, it fits the Remington 700 short action, although they should have a long action version available later on this year, and then also a Savage and a Tikka T3 option coming later on. Overall, the JTAC-Thunder chassis is a really interesting modular chassis system. And by modular, I mean there are quite a few things that you can switch out on this chassis system to fit what you need. First of all, the most noticeable part is this rail system up here. We have a 14-inch key mod rail system, a tubular forend on this version here. They also have a 16-inch Picatinny rail version. What really makes this chassis interesting is that if you don't want this railed section, you can run it without the rail section. It comes with this tray system here that you simply unbolt 2 bolts from the bottom here. You slide the tube off, you drop the tray in, you put your screws back in and lock it down, and now you have a lighter weight system. Without the tube, it'll allow that barrel to cool a little bit more efficiently. So those of you guys that don't need to run lasers or lights or don't need the protection of the tubular forend, you can lose a little bit of weight and have a little bit more compact system overall. That's one of the really neat features. One of the other interesting features about the system is the tube, when we first got it, actually sat a little bit lower. You'll notice in some of our range videos it looks like the barrel is very high in the tube. And the reason for that is if you are running a really large objective scope and you want to get it shrunk down as close as you can to the barrel, then you may have some interference here between the objective bell and the rail. So when it comes stock, it doesn't have this little spacer in here, and it actually, the barrel rides considerably higher, probably about a 1/4 inch higher in the tube. That's fine if you're running a varmint weight Sendero type barrel like we have here, but if you're running a really big thick barrel, that can cause you some clearance issues, so they give you a spacer that you can move that tube up. I prefer to run the spacer just because obviously with the spur mounting system that we have on here, we don't need that clearance space, and I think it's just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing to have the barrel in the center of the tube instead of offset at the top. But again, that's the beautiful thing about modularity, is you can adjust the chassis however you need it. Now, we've started at the front. Let's come to the back real quick, and let's talk about the buttstock. This chassis does offer a ton of adjustability in the stock. You do have a knob back here on the back side of the stock that you can't see yet that allows you to adjust that comb height quickly and efficiently and then snug it down. There really aren't any detents or anything, so you need to be careful that you don't have that knob slip on you, but it's a brass knob on steel threads, so once you get it cranked down, it does bite there, and we haven't had any problems with it loosening up. However, it is something that you need to make sure you keep an eye on. If it really is a problem with you, of course, you could just put a standard nut on there, a nylock or something of that nature, and lock it down permanently. But it's nice to have the toolless adjustment, at least when you are setting the stock up. You also have the ability to adjust your length of pull by spacers, so you can get the length of pull dialed in to exactly where you need it to be. Now, one of the really cool things about the chassis here is the folding mechanism. The folding mechanism is not some repurposed AR folder or something that's off the shelf. This is JMS Tactical's own folding mechanism. They designed it, and they cut the thing out of S7 heat-treated steel. So it is a really beefy, really heavy-duty folding mechanism, and it locks up really solidly. When you snap it into position, it's got a really good thunk, it locks up, and there is no wiggle at all. That's really the gold standard for a folding chassis system. When you get it locked out, you don't want any wiggle on it at all. Now, you do notice one really neat thing with the folder here is that, that's right, it folds to the right-hand side and encapsulates the bolt knob. Now, we do have a KRG bolt lift on here, so it's a rather beefy bolt knob, and we have no problems with the stock actually encapsulating the knob and not interfering with anything. That is a really cool feature, but If you don't want that, or if for some reason, whatever kind of bolt handle or knob setup you have doesn't clear this, it's a very simple matter to take out the fasteners, flip the hinge 180 degrees, and then fold to the left-hand side. In fact, when we took the chassis out of the box, it was a left-hand folder, but we flipped it and converted it over, and additionally, you change the side that the adjustment knob is on here so it doesn't impact the side of the chassis. But once you get that flipped over, now you can choose which direction you want the stock to go. Once you tighten those fasteners down, it really is a snug fit. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to loosen up, so you don't have to worry about it flopping around. But that was a really, really cool bonus to the design. Now, one thing that you will keep in mind when you flip the hinge is the release button ends up on the other side. Originally, it was on the top, so you push down to fold the stock to the left-hand side. And now that we have a right-hand folder equipped, you push up on the button from the bottom. Initially, I thought this was going to cause some problems, some interference with my hand in shooting it, and that was a non-issue. It didn't cause me any problems at all. Now, coming forward from that, the pistol grip, you can select a couple of different pistol grip options when you configure the chassis. We do have the Hogue pistol grip on here. It does use an AR mounting boss. So as long as you are using a flat top AR grip, you can swap on whatever grip that you want. The trigger recess in here is fairly large, maybe not as large as I'd like. You don't have a ton of room for gloved fingers to get in here, but it's more than adequate. We didn't have any problems even shooting with gloves on. On this chassis right now, we have a CG Extreme trigger in here. It's a Mod 22 trigger. It's a fairly beefy trigger, and the inlet allows for considerably large triggers to be installed in here, so you're not limited on your trigger options. I did talk to Joe at JMS Tactical, and he said they have opened the inlet up now so that even the large David Tub trigger will fit in their inlet, so you shouldn't have a problem fitting any Remington 700 trigger in the inlet. Coming a little bit forward from that, we do utilize regular AICS magazines. This is a 5-round magazine, and it fits in just fine, almost flush. Obviously, 10-round magazines will work as well. The AICS magazine is really the gold standard for magazines in these kind of chassis systems because it works with the 700 with no modification. If you tried to go to something like an AW magazine or a PMag LR20, then you're going to run into issues because the Remington 700 can't feed from double stack like that. You have to cut up the bottom of the action. So the AICS is really, that's what I look for when I'm looking for a chassis system to be drop-in ready. The magazines drop out really easily. There's no drag, no stick in it. The new Magpul AICS compatible magazines work in it just fine, so we didn't have any problems with that. The magazine release is a nice beefy paddle type arrangement, so it's really easy to either get up here and hit with your firing side hand or to reach underneath and hit with your support side hand. No problems there. It's a beefy steel piece, so you don't have to worry about raking it on a barricade and breaking it off. And it is that intermediate length where when you have a 10-round magazine in here, it's not really something that you worry about. It's a little long if you run a 5-round magazine all the time. But other than that, it worked absolutely flawlessly. We didn't have any problems with magazines dropping out on recoil or anything like that. Coming forward to that, you'll notice the forend on the chassis. We already talked about the tube and the modularity of switching the tubes around, but let's talk a minute about the forend up here. JMS Tactical did a really good job on contouring this forend. It has a nice flat spot on it, so it rides barricades really well. It'll ride bags just fine, but it also has this lip on the side, so it feels more like a beaver tail. So if you have to shoot it offhand, you really have a nice surface to wrap your hand around and to grip your fingers on if you need to control that rifle. It also came to us with a short Picatinny rail section up here, so you can mount your bipod on the bottom of this forend if you want, or you can go ahead and remove that and mount a rail section up here if you want that bipod to run a little bit lower. Running with the Atlas bipod like we have here, I would probably suggest running a rail section up on the Forend tube, but then you kind of limit that modularity if you decide that you want to get rid of the Forend tube at a later point. So that's just fine for most situations. Most field shooting situations, that's not going to cause the bipod to be too high. In fact, if you're running a Harris bipod, that will probably be just fine for you. Sling mounting points, you have a couple of options. There are flush cups on either side mounted here, and you do also have flush cup mounting point on the Forend underneath here and on the buttstock underneath here. So you're good to go, you're ready to mount your sling, and you're ready to get out and get at it. Working with the JTAC-Thunder chassis was really a joy. Now, the current chassis that we have sitting in front of us is a shade over 6 pounds. So it was really a bit on the heavy side of what I like as far as a chassis system. If you go throw a suppressor and a heavyweight barrel in here and a heavy optic on it, it really ends up being a chunky overall platform. We discussed this with Joe at JMS, and he went through and looked at the design and looked at some of the areas in the chassis that have unneeded material, and they really worked quite a bit on getting the weight down on this system. He reported back to me earlier that the next gen of this chassis system should be the one that if you guys order it, the one that you get, will be about 4 pounds in weight, which is a fairly lightweight chassis system when you look at all the features. Also, ours does not have an integrated bubble level on it, but the production chassis will actually have a bubble level integrated into them, which is a really nice feature. Some guys like bubble levels, some guys don't. The nice thing is if it's integrated into the chassis in an unobtrusive area like the wrist up here, then if you want to use it, it's there to be used. If you don't want to use it, you can forget it's there and it's no big deal at all. So overall, the JMS chassis is something really exciting. I can't wait to see the next version and get my hands on the next version. And JMS Tactical is a great company to work with. They really wanted our input and took everything we had to say about the chassis to heart. If you guys want to check out the JMS Tactical JTAC-Thunder chassis, we'll leave a link down below. The chassis starts at $995, so it's appropriately priced with the features that it has. You can select different features on their website that will raise the price a little bit from there, but it's still a very affordable chassis system. If you guys have any questions or comments about the JTAC-Thunder chassis from JMS Tactical, please leave your comments in the comments section below or send them to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you've liked the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, get out and shoot.